the other aspect of this is, yeah, you make friends, yeah, you make lifelong experiences, your practice has changed forever. You're able to pool resources and help each other out and do crazy things you couldn't do before. But not only that, you're combining multiple different backgrounds and followings from different people and creating this huge snowball effect that gets tons of people excited, including people who want to support you with money as well.
Hello everyone, and welcome yet to another episode of NewForum. NewForum brings together leaders, creators, new starters, and new perspectives on crypto, the metaverse, NFTs, social 3, and DAOs.
NewForum is powered by Newcoin Foundation and provides humanized and organic ways for thinkers to coordinate in order to ensure the conscious and ethical growth of a new web, embedding the values of care, freedom, and creativity. We have Ben Sang on today's episode. I hope I got your name right, Ben.
Yeah.
He's an incredible artist, designer, and creative director. He explores different mediums in the real and digital world. He also owns his own gallery exhibition, something I'd love to hear more about. Hello, Ben. Welcome to today's episode.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So, Ben, could you tell us a bit about yourself and maybe your work, your creative work as an artist and designer?
Yeah. So I'm from Salt Lake City, Utah. Grew up very apart from the entire art world that I now interact with. But I've been focusing all of my work, whether it's been my personal work or my curatorial work or collective work, to be revolved around working in the substrate of belief. So instead of focusing on material, it's focusing on belief through material, what material combinations and what ideas impact the way people believe things and the way to go about things. And the whole idea with this is just to create situations in which people become more aware of their belief and also can see how belief structures the way that they live every day.
Wow.
That's quite interesting. Yeah, you have a lot of creation on your side, and I think it's really something all of our audience really relates to your aesthetic.
It's been interesting because with every project, different aesthetics kind of emerge, and it's hard to tell which one's kind of at the forefront at the moment. And it's interesting to see what's an aesthetic of belief as well. It's I don't know, it becomes really, it feels out of my control constantly. It's interesting.
It is definitely interesting. And I think this is the first time I've heard of an artist speak of belief. And I'm wondering, is there somebody, a person or other things that inspire your work aside belief?
Like within belief?
Within belief or outside of belief?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, in general, with artists, whether they're musicians or fine artists, I'm always most attracted to artists that with each project can completely reinvent themselves.
Wow.
And have a completely new output, where when you look back at it after 10 years, you realize it was all doing the same thing. It was all from the same person, but day to day, project to project, they look vastly different. Just to be able to see that kind of depth of a practice is really interesting to me. But I mean, I grew up surrounded by belief. I grew up Mormon in Utah, and so it's this huge projection of belief and different kinds of spiritual leadership, even though I'm growing up in a very normal pop culture influenced SpongeBob lifestyle as a kid, but the background of it all was completely different because of the circumstances. And so looking at the way that modern belief is structured into pop culture, I think that's what sculpted me as a person, and that's like how I see things.
That's really interesting. Like you have that, having that as like background information of like where you come from and how that influenced your work, and like you questioning like beliefs, and also being maybe like we live in a very pop culture, like really eccentric world right now, where you have so many different outlets and mediums and things speaking to you. I think that's a really, really interesting mix, and I can definitely see that you explore that whole world within your work. Could you tell us a bit more about what is important to you at the moment regarding your work?
Yeah, I think the most important thing right now is really trying to figure out materiality. As everything right now, we're experiencing this transition from material to information as the basis of like transportation of ideas. And I've been a part of some really, really, really great projects that have gained a lot of momentum. And so it's taking these projects and looking at them and trying to understand what they look like in the future, and how you can take this material that's become so important to me and make it able to translate through information, or to take information and actually lead people back to the material. Like I've really found a lot of success with the internet, with Instagram, with different platforms, bringing people together in real life. And that's always been the focus, is like, yeah, you can meet people online, but when you really bring each other together, it's paradise. Like that's something that only this generation can accomplish, and it's beautiful. So how can you continue to do that? How can you take these materials, these projects, these ideas, and these people, and continue to bring them together in a way that allows them to develop better? And it's like a huge question mark. So like, I don't know, I'm entering into a huge phase of where the output's all there, but the mechanics on how to create in the future are about to change a lot.
Right. So since you mentioned social media, I'm wondering what's your experience with it as an artist, and how has it impacted your work? How will it impact your work? And is there anything you would like to see improve in regards to you as an artist?
Yeah, so I've interacted across a lot of different social medias with art over the years. Different phases of my work have been like more apparent in different platforms. And the way I see them all is just as tools. Like, I mean, I'm very isolated in person most of the time. And so to have this like magic mirror in front of you, that's what me and my friends like to call them, as magic mirrors, because there's these huge concentrations of rare earth metals pressed together. And when you inscribe the right combo of touches and movements on them, you make friends and meet people in real life and connect. And so that's been just like my basis for everything, is to just view all these things as tools that can enhance whatever I'm trying to do. What would be better from it all? I mean, obviously, immediately the first thing that's going to come up is going to be about compensation. Some platforms are better at compensating their makers than others, and the contemporary art world I work with tends to lean really heavily on one that does not compensate them. But yeah, it's also interesting. You know, I think when you look at Instagram and you look at material and you look at information, the kind of work that's most successful now, materially, is less aware of itself. It's traveling through information, yet then when it sells in real person at different fairs and stuff, you can see in some of it the lack of quality. And so, yeah, you run into these problems of material and information. I think that's just generally what our world is That's like just the next problem we're facing. And so what's the answer to that? I don't know, but we need to work it out.
I love that. You're pointing out two very important things that we care about as well. It's this thing that like the content quality is not, it's very driven by attention, and it's very, driven by certain marketing or key factors within the market. And then also you talk about creator compensation, which is something we also really care about, which is how can creators own their work, how can creators monetize their work, and how can they share their work with their audience and also with the fans that they can gain from it. So there is like a mutual relationship, and at the moment we're still in this phase of figuring it out, but I think Web3 will enhance these possibilities for artists like yourself or fashion designers, other people, to really set a milestone within, owning your work and owning your compensation, for example.
Yeah.
Definitely.
No, absolutely. Like that's the thing is I have this really interesting relationship with I'm so connected to the outdoors. So much of my practice has to do with outside. And so people start to kind of assign this certain idea about who I am, but then I'm also so connected to technology and so aware of it as like an enhancer that can take every experience you have, including all of my outdoor experiences, to another level, to be able to be shared more intensely. So I'm really excited for developments as far as like kind of humanity going deeper and deeper and deeper into this. Do I think, I don't know, it's like obviously there will be new problems, but obviously those new problems will be part of new answers. So I'm about that.
Yeah, and that's really awesome too. You're saying that you're not shying away from technology, but you also have the connection to real life. You want to make sure that you have this real life connection with the outdoors and with people. So my next question would be, what is your experience with crypto? And are you trading any NFTs, or are you part of any DAOs, or what is your whole experience so far with this space?
So it's had an influence on me for sure. It's been interesting. I actually had a couple of friends, one in particular, leave the art world to join the crypto world and left art behind completely. And staying in contact with him and staying friends with him, he advised me on a ton of crypto very early on, at least from my perspective. And I made some investments and made a lot of money. But what was interesting about that was like using those funds then after investing in crypto for the first time, me and all of my friends that I'd made online through Instagram did this together. We were all working together, and we all started helping each other with the investments we were making and giving each other advice and stuff like that, even though none of us really knew what we were doing. But in the end, we all make a profit, and then we're all able to fund flying each other out to Utah to film 2 weeks of insane, incredible footage, and to make all these memories and to strengthen these friendships that are still alive today. And so, yeah, I drained all of my crypto funds, but it's like we created a whole new world of experience that couldn't have happened any other way.
That's awesome. I mean, I like that you guys like work together. I'm curious to know, what was like the initial intention behind it? Was it because your friend that moved completely into the crypto was sort of slowly like guiding you, or was it like money driven? Was it just out of curiosity?
Well, it was for me, it was like curiosity, money driven, like all of the above. And
Right.
I was taking personal guidance, but it was funny because at the same time, everyone in I, this group I've been working with, at the exact same time, started to see this opportunity and be like, hey, people like us normally don't have access to opportunities like this. And it doesn't take that much education. We just got to help each other out.
Right.
And we can all do something pretty cool here. Do we make some bad investments? Absolutely. Do we make some great investments? Absolutely. So it's like
I love this, because we actually, like at New Life, we talk about this factor of people, funding their projects together and coming together, because there is often an intersection between art, music, and maybe fashion, other,
Oh, absolutely.
many different subcultures. And how do you organize these projects? How do you fund these projects? And your friends are the best example for how Web3 can really look like. Like you said, it opens up possibilities of like, wait, we can start our own DAO, we can start our own app, our own project. And I think that is such a great example that you made here. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. You were able to take that initiative to do your own thing. And so that's quite encouraging, and I think to our audience as well. So since we're speaking about like the digital and the fact that, you've gotten into the crypto space and you find the benefits, like, because we're trying to like bridge this gap between what's going on with social 2.0, and we're trying to educate and encourage people to see what can happen with social 3.0, like that, the crypto space. And so I'm wondering, have you thought about the future of the metaverse? That's the word that is sort of trending these days.
Yeah.
And in regards to your art and curation, and how will it like impact your work? And do you also see any potential concerns or negative impact with it as well?
I mean, it gets interesting, and I guess I even try not to think about it too specifically, because when I was a kid and got a phone with apps, the way I understood apps and interaction was completely different from how I understand it today, even though, I'm still using the same apps. The landscape changes so much. And I'm very, very curious and fascinated to see how the landscape moves from one platform to another. That's fascinating to me. What I think my biggest focus will just continue to be, though, is just to how can you bring people together through these platforms, to bring them together in real life for real experience. Because the other aspect of this is, you make friends, you make lifelong experiences, your practices changed forever, you're able to pool resources and help each other out and do crazy things you couldn't do before. But not only that, you're combining multiple different backgrounds and followings from different people and creating this huge snowball effect that gets tons of people excited, including people who want to support you with money as well.
Right.
And so what does that look like in Social 3? I don't know exactly. I have a hard time even imagining what that looks like. But all I know is any push towards more communal network sharing, network building absolutely leads to more opportunities if you're able to understand it in the right way.
So I'm wondering, like, as we've been talking about, like, as you spoke about when you guys go into the crypto space, you guys made a lot of, in terms of money-wise, you made a lot, you were able to benefit from that, and you guys were able to fund your projects and do all these incredible things and travel. So I'm wondering, what would you do with like an investment, let's say like maybe $60,000?
What would I do with that investment?
Yeah.
The biggest thing I'm trying to focus on right now, I guess I could have brought this up earlier too, is like taking some of the gestures that we've made. And when I say we, I'm speaking about I primarily, the group of musicians and artists that I work with. Most recently in this last year, we've made a couple gestures that, are like 3-second videos, or just still sculptures in the desert that have a life to them, but that life needs to be expanded for more experience. And so, taking things to the next level, whether that's like getting film crews, just getting everyone back out here. I mean, the thing is we built these cool things. We use that money. We're all trying to recover right now. Like that money didn't make more money. It made awesome experiences and things. And so it made some money for other people. but yeah, to take these things, put them together, and it's like we've had 1 year, we've run it through, we've all had these experiences, we understand how to be successful, and now it's like how are you more efficient now? How do you change these things that you made before, and how do you reorient them to actually bring income towards you? How do you how do you take these resources that were so awesome to get before, and how do you make them create opportunities for more people other than yourself?
Right.
I can totally like relate on that, because when you are like a creative, you spend a lot on resources, you spend a lot on material, on technical things, and sometimes it takes a while till you recoup it, or you spend a lot on a big project, and at some point you feel like, okay, I really want to make this investment so I can also get something back and maybe reinvest in other projects or in the community. So you're touching on a very good thing, that maybe social tokens and NFTs, they are maybe like a little representation of it, but there's more, I think, to come. Maybe you can monetize your events in different ways with social tokens, who knows, but we are open to experience it here.
We've seen your work, and yeah, I'm like mesmerized when I'm looking at the images. I'm like, wow, like what was he thinking? Like what's going on here? And
absolutely nothing, no thoughts.
But like it's incredible. And I just wanted to say, as creators, we usually, like, back to when we were talking about like monetizing, investing, and how sometimes as creators we lose track of, like, we just get excited, working, the collaboration, the team, the people, and just what we're creating, right? And the passion. And then we kind of like lose track of how am I going to monetize from this? How am I going to, make some money or some profit out of it? And I feel like a lot of creators fall into this sort of space where we're just doing amazing work, and then we don't think about, like, okay, how is it going to benefit us? Because we enjoy what we're doing, right? And it's not because of money, right? And so it's great that, Joy also touched on social tokens, and, that could be a way to sort of improve.
I think there's this headspace where creators think, oh, like there's still like deep in the head of people, like, oh, this is bad, or, one exclude the other, like you have to sacrifice your artwork for the monetary value. But I think no, we need to completely like struck this and say, okay, like it can merge together.
It can, definitely.
And you don't have to be one or the other. You can bring both things together, and it can make a positive impact on you and society and people.
Yeah.
And some projects will stay passion projects. Some
exactly.
Projects, but finding the balance, I think.
And when I think about my different colleagues and friends that are making a lot of money creatively right now, whether they're working for themselves or for like much bigger like fashion houses or whatever, even if they're not necessarily doing like exactly what their passion work was before that they are now, it was through that passion work that they made the friends and connections to be able to work in this way. And so it's like you have to, so much of the art world, even at a lower level of social interaction, is very like, there's a like it's people tend to look down upon people that are really good at networking, at a certain level, or whether it's jealousy or whatever. But just any level of networking automatically makes it easier for you to not only have a bigger audience, but to monetize as well, or to lead to opportunities to monetize.
Right. And I was also thinking, like, within like a creative team or a creative group, I think it's really great to sort of focus on the strengths, like, and bring other people within the team who are like more able to sort of bring strategy, within the team. Because if we're all like super creators and we're just thinking
Yeah.
about doing amazing work, then it's like, yeah, let's just do it. But then when you have that person in there who is able to strategize and think about ways that it could be monetized, you could monetize to gain monetization value. And I think that's something that even creators should think about, like who is in your space, who is in your creative space, you know, inviting different people with different talents, abilities, you know, like diversity, you know, within that group.
Exactly. And I think it changes our idea of what a creative is too. Like,
Right.
you know, all of a sudden you have your one friend that in the group that was less creative but is more valuable now.
Exactly.
It's like,
Exactly.
what is a creative, and what is my role in these kind of groups? I mean, with Final Hot Desert, my gallery that I run, the only person that officially runs it with me is an evolutionary developmental biologist who has no background in artwork.
Wow.
But absolutely has changed the way I think and the
Right.
way I curate and the way I experience, and it's made it what it is.
Exactly. So like being open-minded and just like, you know, opening up your network. And I think that's something that we need to look into more as creators. So I'm wondering, like, where do you see yourself or your work in the future?
I've been about from the beginning a very like slow whole development. Obviously, like my work balances between like art making, curating, and collecting, working in the music industry alongside the fashion industry, and also within like the fine art industry. And so I kind of the idea this whole time has been like, if I can just be as good and invested in as many of these things as I can possibly be, like, then hopefully like my core can like shine through all of that, and so I'm not like over branded as one thing or another.
Right.
And so, do I know exactly what that looks like? Not at all. I have no idea.
And that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, there's phases when you might tend more to one project or to the other, or, you know, but like you're like a medium within the intersection of these like disciplinaries. And I think that's valuable because you, in all these spaces, you need people who have a bit of knowledge about music or have a bit of knowledge about art, or, you know, bring the things together. So
yeah.
And who knows, the future is
right.
You know,
Yeah, exactly.
I love coordinating. I love coordinating. That's what I want to continue to do. I feel like I feel my best when I'm in a coordinating role, whether even when I'm making a painting. Like, if I feel like I'm coordinating between the image and the paint, I feel better about it.
Right. And I think, I mean, we can't predict the future. I mean, it is a interesting question to answer, or to think about, but we cannot predict the future. But I feel like when you know the flow, when you know what you enjoy, when you know what you're sort of like looking forward to, then it sort of leads your path in a certain way.
Exactly.
And sometimes you might not
I can trust that.
Exactly. You might not get exactly where you thought you wanted to go, but it will lead you to somewhere else. And so on that note, I was thinking if you could share maybe like a key takeaway, maybe 3 words that you'd love our audience to have with them today.
Yeah. 3 words: dust to dust. Like, we're all here, we're all developing. You came from somewhere and you're going back. Wow. And as long as your work and like how you work with others can relate to that, you're always safe. You're always working in a space that is building towards the future and is aware of, you know, every aspect of itself. And I think that's beautiful.
That is beautiful. Thank you so much, Ben. This was such a great episode. It was a pleasure having you. And we're wondering, where can our listeners find you to connect you with your social media platform?
Yeah. On Instagram, the gallery is Final Hot Desert. The collective I work with is at i8i.online, and my personal is _Ben Sang. Websites ben-sang.com, finalhotdesert.com, and i8i.online.
That's awesome.
Thank you so much, Ben. Thank you so much for everyone for being part of this episode. If you guys want to get more involved within the community, make sure to also follow us on Instagram. We are newcoin.nco, and we have a personal Telegram group where we chat with our community members about every topic you can imagine, and the link will be also in the bio. Thank you guys so much for being part of today's episode.